Sandeep Menon for that, as usual, right? He's a
Not
Luddite
as
who
usual.
has
Not as
who
usual.
has
I'm always on
who
time.
has
So today
Luddite
also I'm on time.
who has technical issues,
Technical
right?
issues.
Yeah, but that's just another word for the fact that he can't use technology. But otherwise, all good. Abrishmina, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you. How are you guys?
Very good. I mean, Delhi's as good as over. The winter's over right now,
Yeah.
and I mean, with that, obviously, football season, you know, is also coming to an end. And Sandeep, how are you?
Well, I can complain, but I won't. So we leave it at that.
Okay, yeah, don't complain. This is a no complaint show, right?
Ah, shit.
Okay, right. Um, so what do we have for you in store today? We have discussions on the Indian Super League. We have discussions around the Indian women's team's Turkish Cup campaign, and we also have a bit of fun, given all the drama that's happened this week. And of course, what's a week in Indian football without any drama? It won't be Indian football without any drama. So, uh, immediately getting into that. Um, okay, Darshan J says injury time is becoming regular. Touchwood. We are regular. I am regular, Darshan, but it's difficult convincing everybody. So you guys need to show more love for for the pod in general, right? For these guys to actually, for me to convince these guys, right? Key longings by eye-opening read. Thanks for recommendation. Yeah, you can thank Sandeep Menon for it, right? So yeah, they're just getting into it.
More recommendation, you please
Sandeep,
reach out to me.
first, yes, or me, right? But
Or
we
him.
won't get into a war of recommendation right now. What we have to tell you is that Sandeep Menon, I think, did say he's coming up with a book on Indian football. Have you revealed the topic of your first book, Sandeep? The manuscript of which has
No,
already been submitted.
none of the books have been announced, but we'll get around to it soon. I'm just working
Okay.
on the second one, so that will take some time. The first
Okay.
one, hopefully, maybe in the summer. That's the plan.
Okay. Yeah. The manuscript is over. You heard it, right? Buy the book,
Yes.
even if it's really crap. Please buy the book and help Sandeep Menon, right?
What the
Right.
I'm
fuck?
sure it will be good.
Yes.
It will be
Right.
good. Yes.
Yes. But coming to the matter at hand, we have the Spikehead Derby. There was something very spicy this week, right? Where there, there are insinuations flying around that, you know, that an analyst got into, and we won't get into much of this, but Sandeep, and you also we've spoken about it, Sandeep. uh, do you think the pressures is showing on FC Goa?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're watching the game right now. It's 1-1. I don't think. I mean, I guess 1-1 at the moment is a fair enough score. But
It is.
you look at FC Goa in general in the last few games. They have one win in five.
Yeah.
It coincides with Sandesh Jingan not being there. But I don't think that's the only problem. It just, I don't know, it just looks like they're lacking something somewhere, which is really strange, right? You look at the team, they have people cover everywhere, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know what is wrong with them. Maybe it's the pressure getting to them. Orca, you work with them. How,
Yeah.
and they've always wanted to be the winners, the champions, and all of that. And they've won the shield before. But how
Mm.
important is this to this season for them to win now?
Mm.
Do you think that pressure is there? We said all season along that there is an extra pressure this year.
That pressure is there because, obviously, because of the fact that and we'll take more questions on the FC Goa Mumbai City game, but that pressure is there because they've spent big. They've gone big this year. They have multiple high earning players this year. They have Raulin, they've signed Rainier, they've signed Boris, they've signed Udanta, right? So they've got an
Sandesh?
Sandesh, right? They've got an eclectic mix. And speaking of Udanta, he's just coming on, right? Brendan Disso, you can blame Sandeep for it. I don't know what he was thinking, but he insisted we It's I think because of his bedtime, early bedtime. But yeah, but just coming back to the matter at hand, they've gone big in the transfer market. It's almost a situation of where we cannot fail anymore because 2 seasons without the playoffs has hurt them. Like it is hurting them because remember this is the ISL's most consistent club, guys. This is a club which reached 6 playoffs in 7 seasons before the debacle of the last 2 seasons. The last season, they were third at the break and they again collapsed, right? And look at the beautiful synchronicity, if I may. They collapsed in the second half of season again last year from third to seventh. It's happening again. And Manolo's come out and pointed out saying, we won almost all of the first halves that we played this year, but the second halves have been dog shite. So this is one second half he'll be happy for because, and honestly, the goal came out of nothing. It was a nutmeg laser by Yasir, right? So, but over and above, it isn't great, especially given that Manolo is a guy who prefers clean sheets. That 7 goals conceded in the last 3 games does not make for good reading. Like he'd hate that, especially given the 7 goals in the 12 games before that, right? They've taken 25% of the games to concede the same amount of goals that they did, right? In the previous 12 games. That is not, and it's not, there are a lot of problems. I'm just going to, elaborate and maybe Abby can also take out from there. Sandesh is one, right? Nim's obviously taking time to settle in, right? O'Day suddenly, obviously, because of change in partners, there's communication. I also think they haven't developed an alternate for that right back slot for a long time, for many years. It's been Seri, right? And Seri was culpable. Jay, we know he's a centre back converted into a full back, and it shows from time to time. I don't care what any Tottenham fan writes on Twitter saying Jay Gupta is ready for
Who
Spurs.
was that?
We don't know. Excuse me. We don't know. But ever since that thread, right, his forms nosedived, right? And like we know he's great going forward, but he's not good. He's not good against a tricky winger. And Bipin's again had the better of him on multiple occasions this time today, right? Um, the one who was papering over the cracks in attack, uh, Victor Rodriguez, him getting injured was a big problem, right? Because now both Carlos and Noah look like passengers, right? When off the ball, and Victor lent a balance to the team, right? So it's a big problem. So I think all of it is going horribly wrong for them, right? I'll let Abby, because Abby is also somebody who's followed FC Goa closely. Abby, what do you think is the problem?
I genuinely think it's mindset matter as well. We've always known that FC Goa do play under the pressure of performing well, putting out a good show, something that they've initially because of since season 4 how they came up to be, right? They always have that pressure of putting up a good show as well. And I just feel like when they start losing games, it gets to them because I don't think, to be very honest, there can be multiple factors. Of course, like you've mentioned, there are these factors around, um, Sandesh missing or Victor missing and so on. But to actually go on a losing streak like this and still not being able to, like, when you say, for example, you've been a good team throughout the first half of the season, and then you lose a game, you see that fire and insanity in the next game, which I haven't seen. They feel like they're down, you know, like they're finding it difficult to get up, and that I feel is the biggest problem.
I think Manolo made a very prescient point today where he said, when the team is playing well, even Manolo can play. When the team is winning, even Manolo can get into the pitch. Right? I think he meant it in jest, but it's a very valid point what he's saying. He's saying when the confidence is high, everybody's in on it, right? When the confidence is low, Like when you've lost three on the bounce, that's a test of character. And you've seen that Manolo set up today to try and not concede, and yet again they've conceded, right? Looking at the game plan, looking at the 4-4-2 that was put out, looking at how they're playing, the the aim was not to concede in Mumbai, but they've done so again, right? And he'd be pissed because, like we said, all of this fact about Manolo wanting to play good football, swashbuckling is all fan fiction. Manolo loves his 1-0s. Manolo loves his clean sheets, right? And just adding to what you said, Abby, if you speak to club insiders, right? If you say, "Oh, we love you guys. You play great football," right? They'll say we're sick of it. They say we want to win, right? We just want to win right now, like because we played great football for so many years, right? We're the most consistent team in the ISL. We reached the playoffs so many times. They just want to win now, right? So, and honestly, a fan once told me saying, FC Goa is such a tragic team that maybe they start doing well, they might lose half of their fans outside Goa, obviously, because a lot of people associate it with this tragic performance, right? But again, I think they'll take this point. I think it's a great point for them if they can hold on. But moving on, Petr Kratky's Mumbai
But
City.
you also have to see. I mean, just from this game,
Yeah.
they have played quite well. So they are showing a reaction here, and they've just hit the
They
bar.
just hit the post.
So
Yeah.
they have done quite well in this match. But like the game in Kerala, right? They were okay, and then they had the two goalkeeping errors in the end. Um, Today they've put in Dheeraj. He's been okay. I saw him flapping a little bit in some corners and stuff, but he has always done that. So there is that. I think the one position where they haven't probably improved in the
I
transfer
was going to
window
say
was the
this.
goalkeeper.
I was going to say this, right? Because how
Absolutely.
you have two essentially keepers who've played first team football in the ISL. You have Arshdeep and Dheeraj, right? And none of them
Yeah.
is solid enough. Both are flapping at times, right? So, like it's crazy to even think that that they've got away with it. They think that they haven't really thought about a long term option, especially a club which plans for years and years ahead.
Dheeraj was supposed to be the long-term option, right? It
Dheeraj
never
was
really
supposed
worked
to
out.
be, but listen, we've always seen the mistake in Dheeraj. We've always
Yeah,
seen it in him. We've always found him shaky, right? They took him
yeah.
because you know
He was a good shot stopper.
you
So and
no,
he
I
did well in the
yes,
Champions League.
but they took him mainly because of the fact that he could play with his feet, right? There
Hmm.
went a lot of those around, right? But you look at the three keepers who went to the Asian Cup. You look at Keith, Gurpreet, Amrinder, right? They are all supremely talented shot stoppers. First and foremost, they're
Hmm.
to hell with the ball. I mean, that is what India's goalkeeping philosophy for the longest time has been, right? So I just find it criminal that they haven't, right? We know that the Gurmeet transfer rumor is
Hmm.
out and about, right? Obviously, it hasn't been confirmed, but doesn't look like he'll be heading to Goa. We don't know. Blasters look like the front runners, obviously, at this point
Hmm.
in time. But it's crazy that a team like FC Goa hasn't hasn't replaced or hasn't got a keeper. Yes, and as you say, Dheeraj was the plan, but the plan clearly has not been working. But yes, moving on. Enough about Goa. I think the team on the other end, I think that deserves some special mention. I think because when we said when I said in this pod about a month back, I said, listen, they are in it to win the Shield. Folks said, listen, they'll only finish third or fourth at best, right? I said they're in it to win the Shield. Right now, they're level on points with Odisha. What do you guys have to say?
But Odisha has a game in hand, right?
No,
No?
no,
Okay. I
No,
thought
I
they had.
think because I think FC Goa were far behind in terms of the games played.
no. Odisha have a game in hand on Mumbai. He's saying no. They'll both be
Hmm.
on 32 points from 16 matches if the score
And
is same.
Goa has a game in hand.
Yes, Goa. No, Goa's game in hand is done with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Go on.
Look, but the kudos to Mumbai, right? Like you see what they had a tough first half because of the travel with the Champions League. Where a lot of people will not maybe take that into account. But forget the just intensity of that game, but also the fact that they're preparing for midweek games, they're traveling a long distance to play those games. All those sort of add up. You had a coach who was sort of well established and comfortable in the environment league. Peter had to come in. He had to get his players in line. Now, our in-house analyst recently pointed out that RP Singh and Bipin has been playing a lot more than Changte, and so he is finding his right balance. And they have scored. Bipin has scored last game.
Mm.
VP Singh scored this game.
Mm.
So, sorry, I say VPC. Yeah, he's so there is a clear change in the ideology also that is coming through. So I
Mm.
guess now we are finally starting to see, because he had that 1 2 3 weeks ka break and the
Mm.
training block that he was able to get here. Now he's here again. In March he's going to get another small 2 week training block with the non-international players. And I think
Mm.
after that, you'll see probably a much more evolved Mumbai, and that's my guess. Because 4 wins in five, I think they are on now,
Yeah,
not counting this game.
they already look like one of the best
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
outfits right now,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And also, you'll never guess which team has a match in hand, and if they win the match, they are going top.
Who's that?
It has to be only one team.
Kerala Blasters.
No, it is
Bagan?
Mohun Bagan Super Giant, right? So it's crazy. It's crazy how how the season is shaping up. As Sheeny replied to my tweet saying, one of the best, you know, one of the best seasons in terms of competition. But I think Kratky's already find that balance because Kratky's chucked out three foreigners, two foreigners in the
They lost,
in
right? They
the
lost a centre back, and they
they
lost
lost
Nasser Al Khayyati also.
Nasser Al Khayyati. No, I think Nasser Al Khayyati is more of mutual termination,
Yeah, I
and so
think as
was
in their squad has to
yeah,
change.
and I think a lot of people asked about Roston Griffiths. Obviously, Peter did not want to answer a question because what was done is done. But
Hmm.
we can confirm within the club that it was mutual termination. It wasn't a case of Royston being asked to leave. It was a case of Royston just needing a change of scenery as such. And yeah, I think Peter's come in. Peter, if you see the podcast that we did, Peter's a very jolly guy. He speaks a lot. Even in the photos, he's smiling more often than not. I just think the team, like I think the team has got another character like Des, where they're just really enjoying their football at this moment, right? And he's not afraid to take the big calls, like you said. He's not afraid to bench a Changte and bring on, uh, bring what do you say, Bipin and when Vikram Pratap on. He's given a lot more responsibility to Chekara, who's actually repaying the faith, by the way. Chekara,
Hmm.
remember, still an genuine age 21. So give him time, guys. People in Indian football don't really mature until they're 25, and 25 in air quotes, that is, right? Sharad says in Kochi they're trying to showcase attitude shoot there, especially after. I had no idea what happened to them after scoring a couple. I don't know why they did that. I think they should just try killing off the game. I like they lost the plot right there. Yeah. Speaking of Kerala, do you want to speak about Kerala? Because Kerala have suffered a lot of injuries. Now they've lost
Hmm.
Sachin Suresh also. Amrish, what, like, having suffered so many injuries, what does it do to a team?
Obviously it reduces their options. A coach would always want to have as many options and as many fresh legs as possible. And I think obviously that heavily impacts the options that a coach has in terms of tactically as well, not just in terms of the manpower, but also tactically. I mean, you don't have that many options, so you can't go for different tactics, different formations, or different ways of playing. You are forced to sticking to whatever works with however many people you have. So obviously that is one, and the other is also obviously combinations suffer. Players get comfortable in with their partners, with with a few players, and that obviously gets really mixed up when injuries happen. Like you just mentioned, like you were just saying about Ode Ona India as well, right? Like in terms of change of partners, he's also probably a bit disoriented in that sense. So yeah, obviously that's also another thing that really impacts when it comes to injuries.
But he has. So to answer Darshan's question, yes, I will be at the match. That's the plan. Uh, but I really have so much respect for Ivan, just for the sheer ability that they still won 2 games in 5, right? And they beat FC Goa, and he's managing to sort of. I mean, we always thought losing Luna was like the biggest deterrent there, and they lost Luna, and they have lost multiple players since then. But he's pulling performances out of Amin or Vibin or Azhar. These youngsters are getting a chance, and they're still in the playoffs. I don't think they were ever really in the running for the ISL Shield anyway. They just have to stay up in the
They
top three.
they were neck and neck with Goa the first half of
No, I
the
mean, because Goa had a lot of games behind. I don't know. And it
right.
always felt to me that while they were, there's a little bit of a false position there.
Yeah,
Maybe in that
fine.
beginning part,
Fair.
they could have been. But as soon as Luna injury was confirmed, I was like, okay, they are going to fall back a little bit.
Mm.
But they have fallen back, but they're still up there in the playoffs. As long as they finish top four, I think you get the home advantage. Also, if you finish in the top four. So I think that's going to be huge. The biggest thing for them is to keep Diamantakos fit. He is an absolute monster to play against. I'm sure
Mm.
like everybody who is not a Blasters fan will hate him. Everybody will hate playing against him because he does everything to annoy you. But
Him
he's
and
also
Betatos. Him and
yeah,
Betatos. Super annoying
unbelievable.
to play against.
Both
Yeah.
insanely high quality around the box and will absolutely gnaw the hell out of the defenders just by their presence. They are relentless. They are sly. They are smart. They do all the things that you need from a striker, and you
Mm.
will love them for what he does. So for me, it's keeping him fit, and then you try and see where you can get the home advantage for the playoffs. That's the
Mm.
most important thing.
Mhm. They're still only 3 points behind the leaders, by the way. They're at
Yeah,
29 points, and
but they
Mumbai
played
and
a
Kerala.
game more or something.
No, they are also on the same number of games played. Only Jamshedpur, BFC, and Hyderabad have played more games.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, yes, they played 17 games.
I mean,
So
then it's even better. Like, then
uh,
I'm wrong that he's managed to keep pace also.
yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah, and just so that you know, just so that I put a fine point on it. Kerala don't look like they're going to lose out on the playoff race because
No, no.
uh, Northeast are 10 points behind. There's six games to go. Northeast are 10 points behind. What I see is that there are five teams separated by 3 points at the top of the table,
Hmm.
and then it looks like it's a five horse race between Jamshedpur, Northeast, East Bengal, BFC, and Punjab FC. Right, these five teams are separated by 3 points. Right, Chennaiyin, they're dropping like a stone. Right, Chennai and Hyderabad, and we'll come to Chennai also. Right, but Chennai and Hyderabad, obviously Hyderabad are done and dusted this season. Right, but Chennai, four losses out of the last five, look very very vulnerable. Right, Kerala, like you said, have two wins sandwiched by three losses essentially. Right, three losses in between those two wins. Right, but I just think that Kerala Blasters, like I said, those injuries have wrecked the season, like you said,
Yeah.
and we're
But
not going to
they,
see.
I hope if they finish as we think that they get the home advantage, and the home advantage is the second leg.
I don't think they get the home advantage because because the top four are Odisha, Mumbai City, Mohan Bagan, and Goa. Right, now, unless Goa screw up, the other three I don't see screwing up. Right, the other three I see finishing ahead of Blasters with the squads and with the depth and with the way they're playing. Right, I
I
don't
think
see them.
Bagan. I think Kerala is playing Bagan after BFC. I think
Yes.
Bagan might drop points there.
Now Bagan on a roll. Bagan quietly, they have not lost any of the last
Yeah,
5 matches, by the
yeah.
way,
They won
right?
three.
Odisha, Bagan, and Jamshedpur have no losses in the last 5. And we have to speak about Jamshedpur also, right?
Hmm.
Because what a turnaround it's been, right? It's 11 points in the last 5 games, right? Slowly but surely, our man is ensuring that they get there. BFC are out of the race with how they're performing in competing for 6% that squad. Agree. I think I have primarily have to agree with these two because they've just looked out of sorts this season. They've looked again out of
Who?
sorts. BFC, Mangalore
Yeah,
FC, right?
they're really not doing well.
They're really not doing well,
I,
right?
I
Uh,
I agree with the comments. I don't think BFC are really in the
yeah,
running for the third place, simply because I
Punjab,
think their
yeah,
last games, right?
hmm,
They are against KBFC, Goa, Odisha, and Bagan. None of them
hmm,
are easy games, and only KBFC and Odisha and Bagan 3 home games. But
hmm.
I really don't see them getting any real points from there.
Okay.
And can we, now that we are in BFC, can I just say this? Like, if
Hmm,
Shiva Shakti is fit, you have to
hmm,
find a place for him in the front line.
hmm,
That boy is, he's got an eye for a goal, right? We've always seen this. I've seen it in the Super Division and stuff like that. He's got
hmm,
an eye for a goal.
hmm,
Might be able to, and he runs for 90 minutes. He does all those things. If he is
hmm,
fit, you have to
hmm.
find a place for him. You really do. It's tough because one winger to wherever, play in the wing, play in the center, wherever, but he has to play. For me, like you saw, he took that shot.
Yeah,
He has confidence to go for that shot. How many players in that position would have taken that shot in the team?
I think I really think they don't have any options also, right? You see the lineup they put out, right? And he's been in and out, right? But when fit, right? When fit, I think he has to play. Now the
Yeah.
thing is, the front three are Drost, Hernan, Javi, and Sunil, right? So who do you drop? Who do you drop? Like you don't drop Javi because he's your chief creator, right?
Ryan is the guy up front on the left wing, right? Ryan Williams.
Dan
Ryan
Williams, yes.
Williams has to play. He is probably the one who gives you that penetration.
Huh.
You drop either Drost or Chetri, I guess,
Hmm. But
because
I don't.
he's
Drost is a mid-season signing. He's an SOS signing, saying, "Come save us, help us score some goals," right? So they're not going to drop him that easily, right? And
yeah. Look,
Sunil is Mr. BFC, so obviously he's not getting.
you can see Darshan has said Shiva performs better along with a physical forward. He's right. The last year, the
Exactly.
best performance came with Roy Krishna.
Rakesh.
And Roy is an exceptionally selfless striker. You saw
Yes.
what he did to David Williams when they were dovetailing very well in Mohan Bagan. He did the same here. And now he's doing the same in Odisha also.
Hmm.
He works really, really hard for the whole team. And he puts himself about so that other people can go, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know, man. I just feel like Shiva has to play if he's fit.
I feel like the last game was kind of a changing of guard because you had Fanai, you had Shivaldo, you had
Yeah.
all of these players. You all of
Shivaldo
these
is
players.
very
Yeah.
good as far as I
And
saw from junior level. So,
I have to agree with Darshan, but you know, it's easier said than done, right?
and can we just,
But
now that we speak of Sogar BFC,
yeah,
Hyderabad was not outplayed in that game. Hyderabad, who has all the problems in the world, people leaving, 4 or 5 of their players already left. There are more who got
hmm.
NOC to leave and stuff like this. They have problems with money that we all know. They're playing with semi-pro amateur contract players also in their team. All this stuff. They still played very well. That Chunga is going to get a good contract next year. He was
Chunga
very,
showed
yeah,
he
he
was
was
really
very,
good.
very good.
And
So,
and even one player who I've always said is a great player, Lalchanima Silo,
hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
Silo, yeah, and Rabi's had some good performances, right? So
Yeah.
you've had
And
you
hats off to Thang Boy. He's pulling something out of these players in this tough situation. So, and they played well in a lot of the games that I saw.
Hmm.
So,
I,
hats
I,
off to
I
them.
think I think it's also a pressure of playing for
For your contract.
contracts,
Yeah, yeah.
contracts, right? And I'm just going to quickly make a quick point here. This is what happens when you have relegation, right? Because
Hmm.
you are playing for your contracts next season in the same division, right? This is what pressure can do to players, right? And the HFC's players, how they're performing, right? Obviously, it's not the same case. It's not the same case like playing for a new contract when your club won't be able to pay up for next season and relegation, the threat of relegation. It's not the same, right? But the point is, when you have relegation, it forces people to get out of the comfort zone, right? So that's a point right there, right? Debru Biswas says that one headband different to Hyderabad. I think he's talking about Mark
Hmm.
Zothanpuya. I'm not sure, right?
Yeah.
uh yeah, but yes, let's talk about Chennai in Sandeep, because I think a long standing problem, right? It's getting to a point where fans are getting super cranky now.
Yeah, I mean, look, there was absolutely no real excitement with Chennai this year. At the start of the season, people were
Mm,
complaining and asking about signings and about the plan and about the future. Even the hardcore fans, Mariners and
mm,
Machans and all of them were doing the same. And it seems like they were always this hit or miss side, right? Do you remember they would have a title winning season or a title final wala season, and the next season they will be
mm,
somewhere in the middle. This has always
mm,
been their memo. But now I think for 2 3 years they have not done anything at all. Like they look a shadow of the team that they used to be. They lost
mm,
their star in Thapa. He was their golden goose, and he's gone. And then you haven't seen them do. You bring back that I forgot his name. Yeah, that Brazilian Crivellaro.
Crivellaro, who is
Like,
clearly not the same
yeah,
same
he's not
player.
the same. And you
Same.
bring back Murray also is like, okay,
Mm,
he's wherever he's been okay, but he's not going to get you those many goals. Also,
mm,
he's a functional second option sort of a thing.
mm,
They really, I think the management has to take a lot of blame here. I don't
mm,
think Owen Coyle, there's a lot for him to do. Irfan Yadwad, I thought will get a little bit more chances, but he's been played largely on the wings, which is
mm,
generally what happens to Indian strikers moving up from the lower leagues.
mm,
So yeah, all in all, I think they're it's not it's it's not Owen Coyle or the players. At some
mm,
point, you have to look at the management and say, do you have a plan? What is the situation here, or are
mm.
you just blindly doing things so that you can get to the next season and then keep doing this?
I think we've discussed this. For example, Jalaj Dani also holds a big post at FSDL, right? So he doesn't really get too involved in day-to-day functioning. Vita Dani, we know that because son Mudit plays PT, right? We know that she's busy with the PLMS Foundation, with the Dani Foundation, with the day-to-day running of UTT, with table tennis, and obviously there's a lot of scope there also. A lot of scope in TT also. We've seen Ahika Mukherjee do very well. Right? We've seen TT make some strides in the last 2 weeks in India, right? So, and Asian Paints in general has made uh, is making a great profit, right? So they're not, obviously the key decision makers there are busy with the parent company. So the management, you're right. The management there has to stand up and take responsibility. At this point in time and say what's happening. But I'd also like to point out Indian recruitment, right? And I'm
Yeah,
just going to, yeah, I'm just going to talk about last game. You spoke about Murray. Murray really hasn't uh, set the league on fire. I honestly thought like somebody like a Joel Chianese was a much better Aussie
mm.
recruit for the league than this thing. Obviously, Joel did not get his due because he'd be injured a lot of times. But I thought Joel was a fantastic player. You have Rahim Ali, who they had the chance to sell on for a transfer fee about 3 years, 2 years ago, and they did not. Right? That's so surprising that they did not, because he is looking really really terrible right now. Rahim's having a terrible season. Farooq Chaudhary, a player past his prime, right? Again, this is, I would say, and we've discussed this, Sandeep, where we've said ki ISL clubs have a tendency to essentially cycle the players amongst themselves, right? So this is what kind of what is happening. You have Connor Shields, Batokyo, right? He's looked like a he's the one who's looked like a good signing for them. But Batokyo did start the last match, so I don't know what's happening, right? Vinci Barreto, look, Vinci Barreto. I know people Kerala loved him. Then he moved to Chennai, but I've seen him at FC Goa. I kind of understood what Vinci Barreto's ceiling is, right? So this is he's hit his ceiling, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Now the golden goose right now that they have, and the one that I think is already done for next
He's gone.
season.
He's gone. He's gone.
Akash Sangwan is gone,
Yeah.
right?
He's gone.
Akash Sangwan is gone. From what we understand, he's already signed a pre-contract,
Hmm.
right? And yes, it is one of the two teams that you saw,
No, we
right?
already said it was Goa. I mean,
You saw, okay, we did say, okay,
yeah.
okay.
I mean,
I'm
I
not sure,
said.
right? Okay, right.
There is a. I also heard this may or may not be true that Beke is back to Bangalore FC also next year. So,
Yes. That
two
is
of them are
correct.
done.
And because we don't indulge in transfer rumors, but we know, right? It's true. There's a pre-contract. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So,
can we also say, right, Chennaiyin for
uh,
years, they
huh,
had great recruitment from the Latin American side, Brazilians
and
especially, males and all.
that's exactly what Sharad has pointed out right now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Elano
Unbelievably good
Mendoza,
talent, right?
Augusto JJ,
All of
right?
them. They managed to get all of them right. And then now you don't see them do that. Couple of years ago,
Hmm.
they tried to go West Asia a little bit, if you remember. And they managed to get a couple of players. It didn't, Futkulov and all, it didn't really work out. But now, I don't know what happened. They are not taking that chance. So I always felt that Chennai taking a chance in those markets where generally people didn't take that opportunity was always something that gave them sometimes that USP. Now maybe you're looking at it and thinking they are missing a beat over there. Whoever is doing the recruitment at that time probably had some inroads in that part, and now they don't have it. That's a huge problem. Few years ago,
Hmm.
they also extended a lot of their Indian players. You know, remember Thapa, who was Edwin Cindy, Vance Paul, German Preet, and all of them they signed in longer contracts.
Right now, so right now the two best Tamil players
Hmm.
are not playing for the Tamil Nadu base
No,
club.
no.
Shivasakti is playing for BFC.
Nandas,
Nandakumar is playing for East Bengal,
yeah.
right? So and sorry, like Edwin is just a shadow of his former self, right? Ankit Mukherjee, I have no idea how he keeps getting contracts, right? I mean, I don't want to sound mean, right? But I am as surprised, right? Sarthak Golui is also very poor, right? And the others, Mobashir Rahman, as a as a winter signing, like I mean, no wonder he came out and he said, this is underwhelming. Owen Cole actually came out and he said it's underwhelming. And Devjit, I've seen the guy keeping, right? I've seen the guy keeping, but he stood still for a lot of goals this season, by the way, right? You can speak of Chennai for hours, but frauds are frauds.
See, we really can't talk too much about transfers because we'll be liable for
Because,
things.
like I said, yeah, we'll be sued, defamation. But yeah, man, I know you guys know. I know you guys know what's happening. I've seen the Insta posts. I've seen it. It's crazy. It's
Did you
crazy.
see the Insta post that was shared by one of the one of the Chennai hall,
Yes, they've got it right. They know, and this is what I love about Chennai fan base, right? It's a very realistic fan base. They know exactly what is happening behind the scenes. There is nothing. There's no hiding from them. They know, right? The only ones that are sleeping are the owners, surprisingly, right? So,
and Chennai, when it's in song, forget the team.
right.
It's a great place to have a
I
good
love
season.
the culture. You have to love the
Amazing,
football culture.
amazing place. So you get that team properly, that whole stand will be bouncing. and feeling and everything will be there. But
No,
over the years, if you consistently get it wrong, it's a big problem.
I was in Chennai for season two,
Ah,
right?
yeah,
I was in Chennai for season two, and the Marina Arena was bouncing. It was packing, right? People braved the year Matrazi pulled off his remontada. People braved the fucking floods. People, they came back from that disaster and they flooded the stadium, right? It's nuts. It's nuts. And they've driven this club down to the ground, right?
yeah. It's
Remember at one point in time, both Kerala's and Chennai's attendance is going down. And look at how two men can change the future of a club completely, right? Luna and Ivan changed the
yeah,
changed the
absolutely.
whole, and it is those two men. There
I
is
think
no
we have
denying
to
it.
add Diamantakos also to it
We
slowly
have
but
to add
surely.
Diamantakos
Yeah.
to it, but listen,
But
Luna is
Luna
Luna.
is something special,
Luna
yeah.
is Luna, right? Like Luna is special. Luna is special, and Ivan is
Ivan
also
is
special.
special as well.
Ivan is special, right?
Yeah.
Diamantacos, like I said, we've had great strikers in the ISL. We've had, right? But would you put Mendoza and Coro in the other brackets or great strikers? Similarly, I think Luna might be top 10 ISL players ever, right? So,
Yeah, I mean,
possibly.
he's definitely top 10. I'm just
He's
trying to see
definitely top
who's
10. Yeah.
ahead of him. Maybe Koro and
Yeah.
Ogbeche?
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah.
Ogbeche, serial winner, right? Koro,
Maybe
uh,
Miku, but Miku not so long. Maybe only a couple of
Edumedia.
months.
Edumedia, Hugo Bumu. Edumedia, Hugo
Yeah,
Bumu.
yeah, yeah. Those two as well.
Right?
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I can name a lot of opinions on Spygate. We already given it. I think there's
I
a
think it
little
is.
bit of there's a little bit of pressure, little bit of to and fro, right? Uh,
I really don't have any opinion at all because this is hilarious.
yeah.
From Frank Lampard to now, here also.
To Arsenal, what is Sunil's future this summer at BFC only, and possibly beyond BFC, if, even after the completion of his playing career. That's what we
And
hear.
I would think he'll take up a office job in BFC for sure.
Should we just say it on this show? Should we just say what his future at BFC is?
I don't
Should
know
I
for
say?
sure. I can speculate,
I
but I
I've
don't know.
heard it. I've heard it, so I can say it. Right?
Sure. But can I
I've
say,
heard.
like, there is this
Hmm.
dirty part of journalism, which is
Knowing
running
things but
behind.
not being able to say things. Yeah.
No, 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 no. That part you can say. But like journalists always look at a player reaching a certain age, you want them. All the questions will be, when are you going to retire? How long are you going to play? This kind of situation, right? And we do this whether it's Anil Kumble, whether it's Virat Kohli, whether it's MS Dhoni. Now Sunil Chetri also. Like I've attended many press conferences where the only question or the major question is how much longer are you
Yeah.
going to play?
And
And we
they get
all,
annoyed.
huh?
They get annoyed by
They get
this.
annoyed for sure. It's his career. He wants to finish whenever he wants to finish, right? And it's his call. Like why the pressure that we put on is a purely selfish thing. Like from a journalistic point of view, I was talking to somebody and then they said, uh, Sunil has a year and then another year. I think after the end of the season, he has one more season an
Huh.
option,
Huh.
which I think he'll trigger.
Yeah.
And they were talking about a full circle, right? The last match at home against Mohan Bagan, the club
Hmm.
that you started your career, the
Hmm.
biggest rival for Bengaluru. You've had insane battles against each other for so long. Water spaced. You finished. You played 3 Asian Cup. All that kind of things. Story wise, as a writer, yeah, you're looking at it thinking, "Oh, this is a great story," but it's his career, and I think I won't speculate about it. But I do feel like he has earned the
Sunil,
right.
Sunil really wants to play in the uh, you know,
Third round of the
in the third round
qualifier.
of the World Cup qualifier. Sunil really
So
wants to do that because it's it's
next
it's
month is the two Afghanistan games. I think we'll know then.
we'll know then. Yeah,
Are we going to the next round or no?
Afghanistan, and not just that. I think Afghanistan could decide his entire retirement date. Afghanistan could either make or break his next season. But I'm just gonna say this. I think Sunil's future is as technical director at the club, right? This is what we've heard, right? And people asking about Diamantacos's future. And I think S007J has hit the nail on the head because APD is obviously struggling, right? It's been so many matches since he scored, and we know that both the amount of goals especially will be in demand, right? Uh,
I think they
like
can hold him. Kerala can hold on to him.
can they? Because they've already paying a bomb to Luna, right? They can't afford to do that to two, right? And
What if they get an AFC Cup spot next year?
possibly, possibly, right? Uh, Rahul Bheke to BFC. Is this true? Yes, we've already confirmed it on this spot. Sandeep Menon has confirmed it for you guys.
That's
It
what I
is
heard
it's
from
true.
multiple people. So I assume
Uh,
it's true.
it's true. It's probably true. When did this show
But
turn
let's
into?
just go saying that's what we heard. So that
Yeah. No, I'm saying when did this turn into a transfer window pod, right? So FC Goa made it a talking point. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a curveball, but see, this siege mentality coming out when you're three matches down, when you're struggling, when down in the dumps, right? It's good siege mentality. I like it. Winner, yeah, their player parents are coming back exactly. Yes, and return of Cashley also. Cashley, remember that was his nickname behind the scenes there. But and Sandeep Menon, who better to know about Ashley than you? We'll obviously segue to the upcoming qualifiers. We'll cover them. Let's just finish with Jamshedpur, right?
Hmm.
Because Khalid the
Before-
man Jamil is doing it again, right? Jamshedpur and East Bengal. We should obviously talk about East Bengal also
Hmm.
because the high of the Super Cup seems to have worn off, right?
Yeah.
So
You, why
let's
don't
start.
you take the Jamshedpur thing, right?
Yeah, because see, Jamshedpur, uh, I mean, a team with Pratik Chaudhary at centre back should not be making the playoffs, right? But yeah, I mean, they're there in and abouts. They're playing with two Indian centre backs. Muirang seems to have an extra
Hmm.
spring in his step. Sanan is one of the finds of the season. Manzoro is killing it with his free kicks. Like, do not give that man a free kick within 20 to 30 yards of the goal. He will bury it. Right, Imran Khan as usual. Right, Siverio and Chuku, both guys who moved from East Bengal to Jamshedpur. Right, and yeah, I just think everything's going swimmingly well for them at this point in time.
Yeah. And not doing any rocket science. He's just playing very, what do you call, meat and potatoes football. And that's
by
what
all accounts,
matters a
by
lot.
all accounts, he is not a rocket scientist. By all accounts, he is not a
Yeah.
rocket scientist.
But again, phenomenal. I did not think Jamshedpur would do anything this year. So if they get into the playoff spot, the number 6 spot, I think that's a phenomenal achievement for the team.
Ah. No,
And can I
then,
also say,
yeah.
Punjab has been really sort of improving in the latter half. I think they have
Hmm.
3 wins in the last 5 games or something.
Hmm.
And this is the thing, right? Like Luka Majan is a player that we've always seen in the lower leagues. I
But I've
mostly,
always said it. This is all down to one person, Wilmar Jordan. Majid Alal, yes.
hmm,
But I said this. Wilmar Jordan's skill Jill has a very unique skill set for the league, right? And he's explosive. He scored 12 goals for a team that scored 20 goals all season last year and finished bottom last, right? His hamstring injury, his recurring hamstring injury the first half of season is what held them back.
hmm,
And now we're seeing it, right?
yeah.
You as an
Yeah,
Indian
I
centre back,
quite like Majan also, who does a lot of the dirty work that
yeah.
he doesn't
No,
get the
but
credit
but
for.
as any centre back, you don't want to go up against the 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 ramming bull that is
Yeah.
Wilmar Jordan. You do not,
Hmm.
because you will have a couple of your teeth knocked out for sure. You do not want to be standing in the way of that train, right? Trust me, right? I've seen the guy up and close. He is going to pummel you all game, right? And if he gets a sniff, he will bury it. So between that trio, and I have to mention my friend, you're talking about him, my son doing the dirty work. The
Hmm.
number 6, I saw BFC versus Punjab FC here. Like I
Hmm.
said, on one end there was 1-6 who went to the Asian Cup, who looked completely at sea, right? On the other end, the other 6 who was playing, right? he was fantastic. Genuine age 22-year-old who is quietly lighting the league on fire, who is running his socks off every game, who is having an amazing season but is going under the radar because let's face it, some people have all the PR in Indian football, and I sometimes think media people don't actually watch the game. Sandeep, do you kind of sometimes feel that media people don't actually watch the game and just
Yeah,
go
yeah.
by?
No, no, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are like I still, for the love of me, love of God, I don't understand how Ishan Pandita went for the Asian Cup. I really don't. Like there are, it's not like there are no other options of that level. There were
Both
other
are
options.
options. Both are options. Between Lalrinzuala and David, even though it's the
Yeah,
second division, they've
but they are
they've scored
playing.
eight. They're playing. They're playing week in week out. They're scoring goals, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I mean,
so there I agree with you. It's not just the journalists who are not watching. There are other people also not watching the game.
look, and that's a very good segue for us to end the ISL discussion because I want to say this.
But you didn't talk
Some
about here's. I mean, before we end, okay. I think it's a disservice if we don't mention Odisha.
okay.
They've been really well. I think I have enjoyed watching Roy Krishna play.
Mm,
I've seen him up close last season, all the home games here and all the rest of it. But that guy is something special, man. Like I think we often forget what he brings beyond just being a player that he is.
mm,
Phenomenal. What I mean, clearly Odisha spent a lot of money. They have recruited proven performers and things like that. You expect them to be up there.
mm,
So kudos to them. They have done that. And East Bengal, I have a theory. I just wanted to mention it to you before we leave because you mentioned we should talk about East Bengal.
mm.
They had five foreigners for the during the Super Cup.
Yeah.
That makes a massive difference. And to be fair, everybody had five foreigners, so it was an even playing field. They take nothing away from the title that they won because it was an even playing field and they won that title. One less is maybe the team is not as good as they were in the Super Cup. What is your take on that?
I think I think to be honest, uh, the the problem there is that um, it's still a team in transition, right?
Sure.
Still a it's still a team that has a lot of weak links to be ironed out, right? If I look at East Bengal's lineup in their game against Chennai, right? Sure, they won 1-0, right? But you look at, I mean, they have one of the most explosive winger duos ever, right?
Yeah.
In Nanda and Mahesh, they have two very good wingers, right? The problem is that Clayton's at that level where you're thinking, yes, he's the man, yes, he's done a lot, but is he really the man to take them to the next level, right? You have Forbes who's just come in, he's going to take some time to settle down. You have Victor Vasquez, you have Chunga again, who's a really good signing,
Defender. Yeah.
right? Yeah, but like you have Nishu and you have Rakip who blow hot and cold. Right on the bench, you have Ajay Chetri, a notoriously mercurial player. You know this,
I know. I
Sandeep.
mean, people have ripped their hair apart, knowing
Yeah,
how good he is and the performance that he's
and
given.
and and his temperament, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
like so there's Ajay Chetri, there's Mandar, who's always been neither of a fullback, neither of a left winger, right? So there's that. Then you have VP Suhair, who actually got a lot of money for a very short time, right? And
Hmm.
it was kind of a surprising signing, but you have Pantich, you have Vishnu, who's getting some minutes. You have Edwin Sidney Vance Paul, and you have Gursimrat Gill. So there's not really much there to write about. I think Indian recruitment needs to improve for me. For me, the Indian
I
contingent
worry for the team's future
uh,
because every year it's a struggle for them to figure out
get a
the
sponsor. Yeah,
money and sponsor and all of it.
and I think it's also a good time to drop the other bomb also, right? That we are hearing problems with Imami. We
Yeah,
have we
yeah.
have heard it, and multiple people saying it is not great, right? So yeah, sorry, Abresh Mina's facing laptop issues. Nothing to do with us actually, but yes, Imami and Sandeep. You have to say that if Imami disappear, it's probably going to be very hard for them to find another Bengal-based company of that
Yeah,
size
yeah, it's
again
tough.
for the third time in 4 years,
Hmm.
right?
It's tough. It's tough.
So, yeah,
Just and they
because
were actually getting better. Two finals this year,
yeah,
so there was something to build on there for sure. There is something to build on there. I'm not saying in past tense. But anyway, we can move on from ISL now. Orko, I want to ask
yeah,
you about the women's national team performances. What have
yeah.
you made? I
So,
haven't seen
so,
the game, so I'm just
so,
going to let
so
you
no,
answer that.
so it's a good segue, right? Because we were speaking about you were speaking about how Ishan gets into the Asian Cup, right? So it's a good segue because some people are always getting into teams, and some people have a say in these teams, right? And we know this for a fact. We know this for a long time that people have a say in these teams, right? It was first it was only in men's football, right? But women's football, like this has been happening for some time now, right? And there are people who being pushed by clubs who are not even known for their women's football, but we know have huge clout at the AFF, right? They're pushing the players to the women's team as well. So it's crazy. It's crazy, but I think I apart from selection, right, and that's really got my goat. But apart from selection, it wasn't a great outing, simply because of fact it there were three winnable games, and while India did win two of those, India did not look like they had a coherent plan for those two games. It looked like even Estonia and Kosovo, right? All of those teams that India faced had plans, right? So, and India did not look like India had. We kind of scraped by on individual brilliance, right? And and it kind of came back to bite us in the Kosovo game, where we tried too long. We held on to a ball for too long. We tried to do too much with the ball. Kosovo moved the ball. Kosovo was smart about it, right? We we were trying to we weren't trying to move the ball. We were trying to move ourselves, right? And in the 92nd minute, we conceded. So I mean, it was heartbreak. But I spoke to a couple of players. They're pretty down in the dumps. It was a pretty tough loss for them to take.
Can I ask on a sort of related note
Hmm.
about some coaching instructions that were given from the Indians?
My God, गिर जाओ,
Yeah.
uh, Sangeeta, Sangeeta, come back. I don't know what to say. I am stunned that it is 2024, and irrespective of whichever national team it is, right? Should it be the under 16? And I think Joshua's changed his ID to JS. He will clarify. But because there's such a Joshua comment, I assume it's him. It is so blatant that within the game, you are giving running commentary. Why are you doing that? Right? Let them figure out solutions for themselves. Right? You are constantly telling them what to do, where to go, and then you have three voices within. You have the player's own inner voice, which is guiding them, right? You have the teammates communicating with each other, right? And then you have the coach who's not stopping for a minute. I'm not saying you don't talk, you talk. I'm not saying you don't ask them to waste time. You do whatever the hell you want, but right, do not ask them, do not do not take the decision making capacity out of their hands. That is nuts. And in 2024, none of our teams, whether it's the under 16 women's team or the under 21 men's team, none of it, none of our teams should have a coach like that. I'm sorry to say this. I'm not asking, I'm not calling for any sacking, right? I'm just saying, I'm just saying it is pretty. First, it was really funny, and then it was pretty shocking, right? And I honestly don't know what Anthony has to do more to get the job, man. I honestly think that he was the best choice, right? And they did not.
But I think he made a good choice.
He chose a 2 year contract over a 3 month contract. Anyone with a family would
Pretty
do
good.
that, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. And what did you think would happen in 3 months? Would they have changed it? And we keep harping about the rankings, right? And we keep saying, Sandeep, that rankings are not the true reflection of a team's strength.
Yeah.
100 and at that point in time, India 96th or 100th lost to Malaysia ranked 140. Were destroyed. Let me clarify myself. They were not beaten. They were destroyed. We were destroyed by that front three. India 65th were outplayed by Kosovo ranked 100th. Ranking are not a true reflection of strength, right? And Kosovo outplayed us, right? We went full gas with the high press, but Kosovo went. I think Kosovo just came up with a plan, guys. Kosovo just stuck to the basics. Kosovo, like I said, moved the ball. We tried to this thing, and yeah, this is another point. The bench, the utilization of the bench was crazy, considering that two of the players on the bench are IWL top scorers for the last season and this season running. They are two of the Indian top scorers, Karishma and Kajol. Right, the other Kavya played under the coach at Kickstart. I have no idea why none of these players came on. Right, and I was saying this, when a coach decides not to pick any players from the bench or does not, right, it's a very Indian coach thing to do, right? It means that you don't have enough faith in your in your bench. Why did you take the bench in the first place? Why don't you just name 11 people? it's it's crazy. It's crazy, but I mean, we might have won 2 out of 3 games, but I just hope the decision makers are looking at this and having a long hard think about what they're doing, because at the end of the day, opposition was Estonia, Hong Kong, and Kosovo, right? So it was crazy. It was shambolic. All of the 3 matches, I could point out multiple issues, right? Even though we won two, right? We are nowhere close to. And I just want to tell the people who said India could have qualified to the World Cup had they not played, guys. This is probably where Indian women's football is at right now. It's probably time to accept the reality that we probably would not have qualified to that World Cup, even if had we played a full quota of matches.
This is what it is.
Yes. Yes.
I think right.
Yes. I think.
Can I can I just say that, guys, tomorrow Srinidhi is playing Mohammedan Sporting, which
Yeah.
is a big game. I think there is 2 points between them. Gokulam Kerala is in between. I think Royal Kashmir is also there and thereabouts, couple of points here and there. This is going to be a big game. If Srinidhi win this, they are just blowing the whole race open. If they don't win this, and if Mohammedan win it, maybe it's still Mohammedan, but at least it looks like there might be a better chance that they go through. So if you have the time tomorrow, I think it's in the afternoon, 4:30 or something. A very, as usual, random time, but please ensure that you watch that game.
Hmm. No. Estonia triumph. He's quoting what was there on the AF website.
What is it? A
Unni's a,
blossoming rainbow on women's football
yeah,
horizon.
it was an actual headline on the AFF's website, right? After a bloody Estonia triumph, like crazy, right? And also give us a
But
shout out
you
if
know
you
what the
want.
funny part is?
Sorry.
I got messages from people who don't follow football,
Uh,
as such, Indian football as such, some who are outside the country also saying India's ranked 65. My God, they beat Estonia. Then I had to tell them, bro, understand this. Estonia is not the men's team.
uh,
it's a whole different situation here.
mm.
So it is a headline that stands out. I will give them that. But yeah, probably
No, but a blossoming
what is it?
rainbow on women's
Blossoming
football,
rainbow.
on blossoming rainbow on women's football horizon, it is not, right?
Yeah.
But speaking of the man who made that comment, Unni Paravannur, Congrats to Indian football's original Twitter bot on finishing 15 years.
15 years.
50, that is
Yeah.
crazy. 15 years is a lifetime and a half in Indian football.
Yeah.
And give us a shout out if you want us to feature the OG Indian football influencer. He moved from
Yeah.
being
Absolutely.
he moved from being a bot to having a website of his own named FNI. FNI is still my go-to place because it scrapes all of the stories on Indian football. It could be a Nagaland mirror. FNI will have it, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
fantastic. And I only to and a lot of thanks to you because in the early years we didn't get a lot of these information, right?
yeah.
And then we used to go like Marcus tweets early morning. We used to go and check while along with morning coffee. What has FNI tweeted? Every day you see what they've
Unni
done.
is the OG influencer. I still stand by it. And
Putting all the
yeah,
what is that illegal
yeah,
streams and the football matches are not
and
seen.
tweet to us if you want FNI and injury time to merge or essentially to
Come
collab.
together. Yeah,
To
yeah,
do collab, we'd
absolutely.
love it, right? Obviously, we know that Unni has standards and we are not at his standards, but please let us know.
Yeah.
And also, please let us know if you want us to feature the OG influencer on injury time. We'd love to have him. I've told him a couple of times, right? Right, but
Mm.
yes, we really want him on our show, right? And we'd love to discuss this 15 years because this man has done some crazy shit for Indian football, right? uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
for me only
Much respect
much
for
a lot of respect,
much, much
to
respect.
the
Yeah.
guy, right? And don't just follow FNI, follow his personal handle as well. I think he has great taste in music as well, right? The guy's taking a
Mm.
long earned break. He's no longer with Kickstart. He was with Gokulam, then he was Kickstart. But do follow his personal handle. But yes, before we move on, Carlos Vaz Pinto, just coming back to the I League, Carlos Vaz Pinto did say this is not the end of the league, right? I know we are hyping it
Mm.
up as a 6 pointer. It is a 6 pointer. There's no bones about it. But Carlos Vaz Pinto, the head coach, he said, let's not put that pressure. And I think the pressure is more on Srinidhi than it is on Mohammedan, right? Need a collab between Injitime and Kalancho, but that's probably not going to happen, guys.
It's not happening.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is not happening.
Okay, go on. What do you think? Do you who wins tomorrow?
Who wins tomorrow is a tough question.
Hmm,
But I agree that Srinidhi has the pressure on them because
hmm,
they need to. There will be a feeling within Srinidhi that they were shortchanged
hmm,
at what happened in the first fixture, right?
hmm,
In the reverse fixture,
hmm,
where two of the players who were not supposed to play were
hmm,
given the green card in the last, clearance in the last moment. They didn't know there was a sort of a thing. I don't know why it didn't become a bigger news.
hmm,
I really don't understand why it didn't become a bigger news, but that was a situation that happened, and there were people in Srinidhi who felt wronged by that.
hmm,
So I think that is a motivation for them.
hmm.
And like you said, you lose this match, then you're probably yes, it's still a long way to go in the league, but you're still
You
probably
lose
not going
this
to catch.
match, you're also leaving the door slightly ajar for Gokulam, by the way,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's just 2 points off,
who come back,
but I think a game ahead.
Yes, but you know which is the informed team in the I League? It's Gokulam. Gokulam won their
Yeah,
last five, right?
even an outside chance for Real Kashmir also, who is just
Yes,
in the on the fourth
yes,
position.
featuring.
So for Srinidhi,
Hmm,
if Srinidhi wins, everybody is right there.
hmm,
If Mohammedan win, Mohammedan probably goes a little bit further ahead.
hmm,
So yeah, for the sake of to ensure that the season is not over for Srinidhi, they have to win this game.
hmm,
There is no two ways about it. I can't imagine anybody settling for a draw and all. That's just not going to happen.
hmm.
You have to go for the win.
I and I mean, speaking of the I League, obviously, Neroka and Trau look like they're pretty much done, right? Uh,
But they are having a horrible time as it is. Okay,
hmm,
like this is an honest truth.
hmm,
A lot of the I League teams
hmm,
are,
yeah,
let's not say a lot.
hmm,
Some of the I League teams are having proper second thoughts
hmm,
about continuing in the I League.
hmm,
They're really, really taking a hard look at the future
hmm.
because the fines that they are incurring
Yeah,
for some stuff like the lights and this and
yeah,
that is
it's
insane.
insane.
They are
Hmm,
they are paying a lot of money
Hmm.
just on those kind of things.
One of the
So
new
they're
clubs.
really,
Yeah, one of the new clubs.
yeah,
One of the new clubs. It was actually very sad because they told me, they said, listen, they were very disappointed. They said, we are doing this first time. We दूर से we don't have any relation with sport. We're just trying to keep the culture open in this in this region, and you're killing us with 4 lakh, 3 lakh, 2 lakh. I understand the AFF doesn't have money, but don't get rid of the clubs. Don't squeeze them, right? Don't do this, right? And
I know two clubs who are thinking, is this worth it? They might
yes,
continue for all you
and
know. Because,
Tanay in his thread did point out. They said
yeah,
you guys can't announce fixtures a month before, and you have the audacity to put these fines on us, right? Right, but
like even imagine you give a fixture list at the beginning of the season, logistic guys has an easy life
uh,
and the bookings are much more cheaper.
the
You do
bookings,
this
man,
later and later.
the bookings,
It's a big problem, dude. It's really a big problem.
yeah, the bookings, right? And we'll just finish with this because the a thread went live, right? Um, we all know it's been happening.
Oh, in the Delhi one. Oh, we haven't done a pod
We
since that.
haven't done a pod since
That's
then.
what is in one.
We have done a Peter Kratky pod, but we haven't done a.
Can I say one
It's
thing?
hilarious.
This is I honestly think this is the truth. Okay,
Yeah,
they forgot that it was being streamed.
yeah,
This has always happened.
yeah.
They thought I will do this,
Hmm.
and then it was being streamed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh shit! I really think it was being streamed, and they forgot.
I'm just I'm just going to come out with it and say it, right? Fixing's very rampant in the state league. It's happening in the I League
Absolutely.
also, right? And very conveniently, some of the matches which aren't being broadcast um, are the ones that are being taken full advantage of, right? And guys, it's happening in all of the divisions, right? ISL maybe not so much, and maybe not so blatant, right? But the Delhi one was blatant. Let them at least learn from some other states where they do it little more subtly, right? They show at least more skill in fixing. Like Delhi football is so poor that they didn't have skill in fixing. And Sandeep, you and I have known this. It's an open secret. Like fixing is very rampant in
Yes,
Indian
a
football. Like
lot,
it's
a lot.
yeah,
But there is a part of it which is also it's not justifying, but you understand why people are doing it because they are not making any money. So if you are going to get a little extra money, a lot of people will take
This
that
is
chance.
their revenue stream for the season, by the way.
Yeah.
This is, and also the teams just above those two teams also, they were also involved with fixing, right? And the best part is those two teams, right, are sister concerns. They're very close to each other in terms of ownership. They're very tight with each other. So yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on, right? But Sandeep, this is a blatant truth that that Indian football is rotten to its core.
But I think world over, this is probably the case in the lower
Yeah,
levels.
but
There's going to be a lot
you
of
know we're
issues
justifying
because
what
it's just
Indian
easier
football is
to fix
doing.
matches in the
But
lower
I'm saying we're
levels.
justifying what Indian football is doing by saying that, right? Maybe it is.
No, 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 no justification. I'm
Yeah.
just saying
See,
it's
you've
probably
covered
something that
tennis, and you know it's a big thing.
lower level tennis, a lot of
It's
fixing
a big
happens.
thing in
Yes.
tennis, right?
Yep.
But I'm saying in football, right? Um, it is those two goals were just blatant. Like they're super blatant. It wasn't. It wasn't. No.
They
It
forgot. I'm telling you, they forgot.
yeah yeah. But I still don't know how international people are fixing who even bets money on Indian football. How the clubs make money. I wish we could get into this. We'd need an entire pod for it, and we need.
It's not a spot fixing, clearly.
Yeah,
There are things that you bet
yeah,
on this goal, this guy scores,
yeah.
or that time, this kind of goal.
There's
Yellow
yeah,
card, red
and
card.
there's fixing happening which is not result oriented or goal oriented fixing. Like there is yellow cards, number of
Hmm.
corners. All of this is there, right? So, like I said,
Yeah.
Wilson Raj Perumal is an inspiration, probably, right? Okay. Yeah, and like I said, we need an entire pod for this. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about. Right? It's a 1 hour 15 minutes. We've overshot an hour because like I said, um, we like Indian football. We really like it a lot. Like unlike
A week ago, we went. I was in Delhi, met Orko as well,
yes,
and we ended up talking about Indian football only.
yeah.
And my cousin was aghast at how much we were talking about this.
Hmm.
He is not a football guy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah,
ended
we
up
had a mini
talking.
injury time meetup. We had Abresh Meena also there, right?
Yeah.
She is having laptop issues, right?
Yes.
Um, I love how the comment section gets wiser every time. Like people know, man. People just people just know. You know. And yes, Srinidhi, they don't have the same owners, but yeah, it's like me and Sandeep. Like if we had two clubs in the
Yeah.
same division, right? So right,
Yeah.
so yeah, crazy pod again, and we ended up speaking about fixing, right? Actually, we got all of the topics you know starting from uh,
Sports.
management, speaking about what happening at Chennai, and that we actually delved in the dark side. Sportscast, I think Roshan GK means sportscast. Just Roshan GK, I'm not sure a lot of people would be interested in that, but we'll obviously try. We're trying to get you guys have to let us know about yes, me
Anyone
me
saying
me
in
me
Indian
I
football?
tried for longest
It's the
time.
right cue. I mean, right question.
Yeah, yeah. It's oh, okay.
There are a handful,
There
not
are, there
handful.
are,
There are
there
some
are.
who are
Like
really
I said,
good,
there are probably 10 people in Indian football who I trust. Right?
and you see them not having the top and best jobs that they deserve
Yeah,
because they are who
they
they
are
are.
who they are. They speak out. They ask questions.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah. So on that note, that's a good and somber note to sign off. Sayonara. Good night. Obrigado. And we will see you next time. Let us know who to get guests, and please push Sandeep to get some guests. Right?
I am trying,
Okay.
but
Okay.
season's taken off.
Okay.
It
Yes.
seems
Yes. Yes. And remember,
a lot of clubs are not doing that
yeah.
well.
And
It's,
remember to eat. And remember to eat. Please come back, Mr. Menon, and congratulations, Mr. Menon. Don't forget to tweet that. Okay. And yes. Good night.